Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. You'll get 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. Plus, enjoy access to the American Express Global Lounge Collection. And with the welcome offer of 150,000 points, your business can soar to all new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Are negative Google reviews hurting your business? Don't let unfair feedback cost you customers. At Webamax, we specialize in removing false, misleading, and damaging reviews so your online reputation stays strong. Our expert team works quickly and legally to clean up your digital presence, helping you rebuild trust. Visit us on the web at www.gowebamax.com. That's GOWEBIMAX.com, or text us for a free quote at 856-840-8343. Don't let bad reviews define you. Get immediate help from Webamax.
So good, so good, so good.
Great brands, great prices. Everyone's got a reason to rack.
Because they have framed jeans.
Nike? Yes.
Just so many good brands.
Vince, Kurt Geiger London, Rag & Bone, and more are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. You never know what you'll find, but you know it's going to be so good. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check the Jumbotron first, before attempting to eat a stack of Supreme nachos in one bite. Now you're just a meme that everyone shares on game day. Checking first is smart, so check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Welcome back to Skating Penguin Network, everyone. It is Robbie here again, the evening of February 27th, just about to wrap up another month here and head into March. But before that, the Penguins wrapped up their February schedule with a game against the Flyers. But before we hop into any sort of recap, going to throw it over to my co-host here, Snail, out in Seattle. He is once again joining us, as he always does. And Snail, how are things out there in Seattle?
Spring is just peeking its head out a little early. I know it's going to go away, which bums me out because, man, it was like 62 degrees, bluebird day. The frogs are already out. The birds are chirping. I feel bad for the animals because they're getting fooled right now. But yeah, it was like even up to 65 in some parts of the area. There's yeah, and it felt good, man. After it just feels, maybe the older you get, winter just drags on a little bit longer than you kind of want it to. Maybe that's just an age thing, because I don't know if this winter was actually any different than prior winters. But yeah, man, it was nice out here. And man, I got to be honest with you, I was a little bit concerned with this Penguins game. Like, man, it's been such a good day out. Got some exercise. We got a Penguins-Flyers rematch. But before we get to that, how is it out there in Western PA?
The temperatures are up. It has been a little wet and rainy the past few days, but the temperatures have peaked up into more of a what I would consider an early spring, mid 40s kind of temperatures. Everything's pretty much melted outside of where the snow has been all plowed and packed and parking lots and stuff. But for the most part, the snow is gone. Now it's just mud and water everywhere. But I will take that in exchange for some warmer weather where I don't have to strap on the big Carhartt just to go out to my car.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit nicer weather-wise. This weekend, it's supposed to a little bit a dip back into the winter-type temperatures, but next week we're supposed to jump back up into the 50s. So I'll take that trade-off any day of the week.
100%.
Just grateful that March 1st always feels kind of like the turning of the page of winter in a way. Obviously not officially, but we're only a week away from the clocks flipping again and a little more daylight in the evening and stuff. So yeah, it's starting to kind of we're cresting the hilltop. You could say.
Well put. And yeah, I feel like we both live in parts of our state where by October 31st. I mean, winter is kind of started, like pretty much. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's
yeah.
I think you were saying it was kind of rare this year. Didn't you have like an 80-degree day on Halloween this year?
It was really warm on Halloween this year. Like I'm surprised that like the kids were uh, staying dressed up in their costumes because the costumes are generally long sleeves and
Not
who knows
breathable.
how many layers you're wearing and stuff. But yeah, it was a good Halloween because the weather was nice and the kids were out. We've had some Halloweens where it's either pouring down rain or really cold, maybe even a little snow in the air. But
Jeez.
yeah, it was really beautiful in October, and it really after that though it really went into winter mode, and it's been pretty cold, pretty much from November through February here. Some really really cold days and some really snowy days. So it's definitely maybe it is age, but definitely felt like a long winter in a
It
way as
did.
well. So glad to be moving on from that.
I know. March. It kind of know about you, but it smells like baseball practice outside.
It definitely,
You
yeah.
ever
I
get that?
mean, oh yeah, you definitely get that. Like the first time that you can maybe walk outside, even if you're just going to the garage or something in shorts. You kind of want to throw the baseball glove on, grab a bat, and take a couple hacks. But definitely feels like a early baseball type weather.
It does, and
But
pitchers and
yeah,
catchers reported, but we have plenty of time to get into for baseball. But Penguins, they only have so many games left in the season,
we
Robbie.
do.
I think that we can all agree that the ship has sailed on any sort of playoff hopes. We're not even going
Yeah.
to bother, even after a win like tonight. But why don't we get into the scoring of the Flyers rematch? Because boy, was it! This was a great hockey game. This turned out to be a great hockey game.
It did, and it didn't start like that though, because, ladies and gentlemen, on the first shot of this hockey game by the Philadelphia Flyers, they scored. We're back, baby.
Yeah,
Eric Zamola. No, sorry, no, it was Noah Cates who killed the Penguins on Tuesday night. Keeps his. Maybe he'll be the next Penguin killer for the Flyers. He gets
yeah.
his 13th of the year from Bobby Brink and Igor Zamola. That's right. I must swap the names there. 1-0 though after the first period. They kind of settled down there. But early in the second, again, Owen Tippett, his 18th of the year from Nick Seeler and Matvey Michkov. Big game from Michkov. You'll hear his name a couple more times here. And then at 7:24, it is Michkov, his 18th of the year from Tippett and Rasmus Ristolainen. It's 3-0 at this point. Alex Nedeljkovic gets pulled and just loses his mind, slamming sticks, slamming bench doors, basically walked back to the locker room. And yeah, he was mad the other night.
He motherfucked Mike Sullivan.
Yeah, it was bad. And the other night he put the loss on himself. He said he wasn't good enough. He couldn't stop anything. Tonight, I understand it doesn't look good when it's 3-0 for the goalie, but it's really hard to put. I thought you could not put much blame on him for this early hole that he found, that the Penguins found themselves in. But either way, he and the magic goalie switch just kind of turned things around for the Penguins. And very fittingly, this was the Max Talbot night. The bobblehead of Max Talbot was out tonight. If you remember his famous fight in the playoffs in 2009, the Penguins were down 3-0 to the Flyers in that hockey game when he fought Daniel Carcillo and shushed the crowd, which led to an epic comeback. Well, here where the switch flips here for the Penguins, Phil Tomasino, one of the moves of the year for the Penguins, his 9th of the year from Malkin and Heinen. It's 3-1, and then 30 seconds later, Erik Karlsson, who was absolutely on fire tonight, his 7th of the year from Crosby. It's 3-2, just like that. But unfortunately, the Flyers get on the power play, and this is where Michkov gets his 2nd of the night, his 19th of the year from Andrei Kuzmenko and Travis Konechny. It's 4-2 now, and it kind of took some life out of the Penguins, but credit to them, they keep fighting. At 18-17, just before the intermission, Erik Karlsson gets his 8th. Matt Grzelcyk and Evgeny Malkin get the assist on this one, and it's 4-3 after 2 periods. And then early in the third, 2 minutes and 30 seconds in, Evgeny Malkin, his 11th from Anthony Beauvillier, Ryan Graves, ties it at 4. We're back on even terms, and that is where the score will remain until they reach overtime. And in the 3-on-3, a beautiful pass from Letang to Malkin. Malkin dances, pulls up, forces the Flyers defenseman to go sliding out of the frame, and rips one past Samuel Ersson for the overtime winner and the 5-4 Penguins victory, their first victory since the Four Nations break. And they rebound from the bad loss the other night in Philly with a 5-4 win. And again, Snail, the playoffs are out of the picture, but you're going to take anything. Any win is fun. And especially in a situation like this, it could have gotten really bad for them, but they make the goalie change. Joel Blomqvist comes in, and the Penguins find a way to crawl out of this rut and get a win tonight and get finally something for the fans to cheer about.
Yeah, they needed something. And I think that Ned's blow up was, he was holding his teammates accountable. You see him barking up and down the bench before he stormed off into the tunnel. I think that also the Boko Imama hit on Hathaway, that was a weird one. I'm not going to say I was a huge fan of it, but Boko was looking to shake things up, and they were going at each other a bit. Hathaway goes down. I mean, it's not the momentum shift that you necessarily want, but it broke up the monotony of that game, and I think it caught players' attention. And you got a team of leaders. You've got competitive players like Malkin, like Letang, like Sid. Even though they're well out of the playoffs, it's pride. You know what I mean? It's the Flyers. Forget Talbot night. It's the Flyers, and it's getting heated. It's in Pittsburgh. They got trounced last game. Thank God that these guys woke up, and it was the big dog scoring. It was Thomas wanted to see a bit more since he kind of off a bit. He all of a sudden turned into 2010 Patrick Kane on that goal. That was just a nasty little roof job. Karlsson was on Hattie watch for the last part of the game. Evgeny Malkin gets 2 tonight, and his snipe there, he's tapping his stick confidently, asking for it from Letang. He gives it to him. Pulls up, dangles, posting in. I mean, just an awesome vintage goal from Malkin. So, for how things have been going, you can call them inexcusable. You can just say that's where the Penguins are at right now. But this is kind of stuff that gets mojo back into a team. It's players. If you remember a couple years ago, it's odd because he's no longer with the Rangers, but Trouba had a blow up. He threw his helmet.
Yep.
He told his team they need to wake up, and it sparked them. And I'm not saying that the Penguins are going to go on a magical run here, but it definitely, I think, helped them come back in this game, no doubt. And I think going forward, you're going to get a team where maybe teammates are looking at each other like, this isn't going to be easy for any of us, but you better not be hanging your goalie out to try in the first period anymore. And the big dogs got to keep showing up. They've made all the money in the world. They're leaders on this team. They can't just go ghost for 20 games until the season's over. So I think that this game was truly a tale of two different tales of the same game. And, I like the response the Penguins had flat out, whether Talbot's in the building or not. I know, was it his bobblehead or something?
Yeah, it was his bobblehead night with the famous shush that he dropped on the Flyers back in the playoffs in 2009.
So that's epic. I love that. Are you going to try to get your hands on one?
This episode is brought to you by Peacock. The new Peacock original documentary, Matthew Perry, A Hollywood Tragedy, dives deep into the beloved actor's rise to fame and his tragic death. 5 people, including Perry's personal assistant, 2 medical doctors, and an alleged Hollywood drug dealer known as the Ketamine Queen were charged with conspiracy to illegally provide Perry with the ketamine. Explore the details of the case in this heartbreaking special, streaming now only on Peacock.
This episode is brought to you by Honda. Introducing the all-new, all-terrain Honda Passport Trail Sport, the most off-road capable Honda Passport Honda has ever dreamt up. The Passport features increased ground clearance, roof rails on all trims, and available specially developed all-terrain tires. And you'll stay comfortable with tri-zone climate control and available features like heated and ventilated front seats and a panoramic moonroof. Learn more at honda.com/passport.
This episode is brought to you by Nerds Gummy Clusters, the sweet treat that always elevates the vibe. With a sweet gummy surrounded with tangy, crunchy nerds, every bite of Nerds Gummy Clusters brings you a whole new world of flavor. Whether it's game night, on the way to a concert, or kicking back with your crew, unleash your senses with Nerds Gummy Clusters.
Every cup of Nespresso coffee is an invitation to transform your morning routine into a ritual you can treasure each and every day. Using the Virtuo Pup, a simple touch of the button freshly brews bold aromas and a rich, velvety crema layer for delicious cafe-quality coffee at home. Whether you enjoy your coffee hot or over ice, every sip, every morning is unforgettable. Nothing tastes like Nespresso coffee. Visit Nespresso.com or our app to explore our full range of easy-to-use machines and coffees not found anywhere else.
Oh, they're probably going to sell like crazy on on eBay. That's like, he's such a cult like figure in Pittsburgh that that's going to be more valuable than the Hornquist one for sure. Because Talbot is just Talbot has such a draw to Pittsburgh for everything he did. Even though he went to play for the Flyers, he's still a legend in the Burgh. Yeah, love forever.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, despite the Talbot night, I'm just glad to see a response out of this team, see a pulse. I really appreciate Ned. You know, he hasn't been playing well, and he put that last loss on himself. That quote he had kind of went viral. I heard that on other podcasts. I heard that on TSN they played it. Basically, Nedeljkovic going out and just saying, "I can't stop anything." Right? You like to hear that from a goalie, but. And you know, he's a fiery guy, he's a competitor, so it's just I love a lot of what happened in this game tonight. Hope the way's okay too. That it was a pretty innocent looking bump from Imama, and then I think he hit his head on the ice, and he was in a bad way. So you think about a guy that he's all good, you don't want to, you know, obviously I'd like to have seen Boko and him fight, but I didn't want that to happen. So scary scene there, but ultimately, you know, that's part of the story of this game, and we'll take the 2 points, right, Robbie? Like, it's one less point for the Flyers.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the grand scheme of things for this season, it means basically nothing at this point because where both of these teams are at. But in these games, there's still a lot on the line, and a lot of pride. Look at Malkin tonight. I mean, 4 points. He comes out of nowhere. He looks healthy. He looks as healthy as he has in quite some time. His goal to win it was, great. Yeah, he kind of completely took the defenseman out of the play and then just went short side on Ersson, who has actually played pretty good hockey against the Penguins the last couple of nights. A good showing from him, but another thing we have to point out, it's been a long time coming, but Ryan Graves, buddy, you are now 1 point behind Alex Nedeljkovic on the in the point standings this year. Ryan Graves gets his first point of the year. He Malkin's tire in the early third period, so he now has an assist this season. So good for Ryan Graves. Nedeljkovic. He was frustrated, angry, but that flipped the switch for this team, and it's time that somebody finally showed a little bit of heart, and they'd been sorely missing that since coming back from the break, but they looked like a completely different team when he skated off the ice, throwing sticks and just being showing some actual emotion for once.
Yeah, 100%. Wow, did notice today February 27th will always be known as Ryan Graves Point Night in Pittsburgh. I'm sure he'll be getting a bobblehead at some point. Congratulations to him. Yeah, God, I wish I had better words for that, but just thinking about that pairing of him and that DA, it just kind of just, God, that poor guy. They should have tried Pulio D. But anyways, we don't got to go there. Ryan Graves, congrats on getting 1 point this season. Jesus, I can't believe we're saying that. It's February 27th. It's almost.
It is.
I know he wasn't out in here to run the power play or anything, but kind of crazy that one didn't just go in off like someone's rear end and he gets a point or a secondary assist, Yeah,
you'd think at some point he would have something. Like, it's almost, if you play enough games, in a game like hockey where bounces can go every which way, you'd think that at some point he would have had something just bounce off something, either go in the net or go to a teammate that could have put it in the net himself. But yeah, it took him this long, and yeah, he sat a bunch this year, but he's been playing a lot lately, and he had that chance right before the break in New York where he got in on goal and had a wide open net and just straight up lost the puck. Like, it just left his stick. And that's kind of the season, and kind of his entire tenure in Pittsburgh was summed up by that highlight. And he gets his point tonight finally. So good on him for that. And yeah, I mean, it's always fun to beat the Flyers. I mean, you're never going to complain about beating the Flyers. So
wait, is that his first point as a Penguin?
Disappointed. Obviously, it didn't start great, and at 3-0 down, I was feeling pretty demoralized again. I'm like, this, I don't know how I can do 21 more games of this if this is how it's going to be night in, night out. And then they turn it around. At 4-2, I didn't feel good either, especially after it seemed like momentum swung back to the Penguins. But they got that goal before the intermission, and Malkin got that tying goal early in the third, and it felt like after that they were just kind of in control of the game. And I would have been probably more disappointed at that point if they wouldn't have found a way to get that goal in overtime, just for the sake that it felt like, do all that work, you might as well reward yourself with the extra point.
Absolutely, man. Good to see them rebound, because I don't think at any point in this game you necessarily felt safe, but even overtime there was a couple of scary moments. You're like, wow, this comeback and it could end. Tippett had a pretty good chance there at one point, and that guy can really shoot the puck. But Robbie, remind me, is this the second year we've had Ryan Graves?
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, was that his first point as a Penguin? But these last 2 years just kind of melt into one.
Yeah, everything's kind of running together. It's like, I understand that. Definitely feel you there.
Well, Robbie, that finally something to cheer about. This was an entertaining game, and this is what it should feel like. I feel like, the Flyers aren't in the playoffs either. The Penguins are where they're at in their, in the twilight of their kind of dynasty, or whatever you want to call it. These games should always be like this, in my opinion. That was an inexcusable loss to them the other night, and thankfully they kind of gave us a show tonight and played with some passion. It took some uncomfortable moments there, but they came through. And I think the next game they play Boston, another one of those I think it's another matinee game this weekend.
Yeah, I think we have two matinees this weekend. Yeah, 3 o'clock.
Oh my God!
3 o'clock on Saturday. Boston's in town, and then right back at it at 1 o'clock on Sunday. They have Toronto coming to Pittsburgh. So 2 afternoon games. Then they take a little trip to west. But before that, they do have a back-to-back home set this Saturday and Sunday. Boston, who another team that's going to be desperate. And we talked on Tuesday about maybe being one of those teams that you can maybe ruin someone's season, kind of play spoiler. Well, Boston's a perfect team to do it to. They're a team that needs literally every point they can get from here on out.
Right.
So being able to throw a wrench into their plans would certainly be fun. And Boston definitely can be a thorn in their side, but the Penguins have been a little more successful against Boston recently, and this one's at home. So hopefully it should be a good crowd, I'd say. A Saturday day game, people out in the town need something to do between Valentine's and St. Patty's. So should be a fun one. Hopefully they show up and spoil the party a little bit for the Bruins.
Agreed. Yeah, man. I got to be honest with you, Robbie. I can't stand early hockey games. Like, it just doesn't feel right. An early game on a weekend. I'm like, I don't know. I can't stand that. And maybe it's because the Penguins have always notoriously just soiled themselves on games like that. I mean, even going back to, even like pre 2000, 17, 16, like whenever there's those early games, I've always personally feel like they don't really perform that well on them. Maybe that goes for all teams, but whatever. Back-to-back game weekend, I'll take it, and let's just play spoil from here on out. I mean, who doesn't love beating the Bruins? Who doesn't love beating the Leafs?
I would absolutely agree with that. I mean, two teams that are always going to be fun to beat, regardless of what the standing situation is. Toronto, hey, maybe that should be, again, you're going to have a good crowds for both of these. There's going to be a lot of Toronto fans in town on Sunday. So let's go out, have some fun, and win some more hockey games. Let's give us something fun to talk about as we open up March here.
I'm with it, Robbie. I'm with it. But as for tonight, I have nothing left for this game. It kind of ending the night on a good note. I'll take the dub. I'll take a dub like that any day. But as far as that all goes, I got nothing left.
All right. I don't really have anything either. The Penguins come out. They have a comeback victory tonight. They are down 3-0. Fight back and win 5-4 in overtime. Evgeny Malkin with 4 points. Erik Karlsson, I believe, had 2 goals, 3 points himself. So a really just a fun night. Alex Nedeljkovic starts, gets pulled, kind of lights the team on fire on his way out. And now the Penguins are off until Saturday, where they will begin a weekend back-to-back set with Boston on Saturday and then Toronto in town on Sunday. So, yeah, if that's it for us,
one more quick thing.
Yeah,
one more quick thing.
Yep, go ahead.
It's February 7th. March 1st is their next game, going into March 2nd, and they go on a bit of a road trip out west way. Robbie, the trade deadline is going to by that little road trip. I mean, the trade deadline might have already popped off a bit by then.
Yeah, by the time that you guys listen to this, it'll be a week until the trade deadline. It's next Friday, the 7th, I believe at 4:00 or 3:00 or something like that. So I think once one move happens, I think you'll start to see a bunch of other ones happen. I don't know if there's one real name out there, I'd say, that is really waiting a trade to be made. But this next week is going to be a flurry of trade activity, I'd say. And I think all it's going to take is one chess piece to move before the board really opens up. So keep an eye on that. We obviously know there's a couple names on the Penguins to some that you expect to be moved. Some we'll wait and see what happens and see if the deal comes together. But we'll be here to talk about it when it happens, if it happens.
Who's the first Penguin getting moved?
I think everybody's going to be looking for like a big name, but I think it's going to be like a Grzelcyk or Beauvillier. I think he's going to kind of do what's going to. I think one of those guys is going to go first. Just because I think for Raquel to get moved, we've kind of said that it needs to be a very big package, very good return.
That's like a blockbuster almost.
Yeah, that's not something that'd be almost more of a deadline day type deal, in my opinion. Whereas Beauvillier and Grzelcyk, you're probably going to get like a mid-round pick or something. I could see that, especially if somebody would pick up an injury between now and like Sunday, a team that would desperately need a piece. I could see one of those guys going fairly quickly. Other than that, though, I could see Heinen getting moved if a team comes and calls. I could see Danton Heinen get moved. But other than that, I don't think there's many obvious ones. I think it's really Grzelcyk, Beauvillier, Heinen. If somebody's desperate enough and wants Noel Acciari, then you can have Noel Acciari. But other than that, the big names like Carlson and Raquel will be the ones to keep an eye out for. Jari, if somebody would be desperate, and don't sleep on Alex Nedeljkovic either.
I don't want to see Ned go, to be honest. I think he's good for the team, but Nieto was put on waivers actually, I think yesterday.
I guess he can be traded, but I when you're put on waivers, nobody claims you for free. I would be utterly stunned if someone ponies up for an actual asset when nobody is willing to take you for free.
I think you said it. I think it'll be Acciari or Grzelcyk. That'll be the first one's gone.
Yeah, that feels probably like the safest bet if you were to put money on it. But I think if any blockbuster is going to come closer to like Thursday, Friday, end of next week, till they get all the details ironed out if they decide to go that route.
You got to wait for some pieces off the chessboard too before you start making the big deals.
Yeah. Unless some teams out there,
to it, Robbie.
Yeah, unless some teams out there are willing to make a big splash move early. But if it happens, when it happens, we'll be here to talk about it. With the back-to-backs over the weekend, we'll probably meet again on Sunday and discuss those two games, and then maybe a mailbag on Monday if we get enough questions. So be ready for that tweet to go out. So Snail's done. I'm done. That wraps up this episode. Penguins win 5-4 in overtime over the Flyers. Have a safe weekend, everyone. We'll talk to you guys at the beginning of next week.